Welcome back to another episode of the UIS Coaches Show. I'm Michael Leota. As always, thrilled to have with us Matt Brock, head coach of the UIS men's basketball team here with us. Coach, we appreciate your time. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Prairie Stars wrapping up their three-game homestand with one game this last week against the University of Indianapolis. It was a rematch from an earlier matchup in January. Stars were able to get out with a key home victory, 68-62. Coach, your post-game, I don't think I've ever seen you as excited as you were after that post-game. There was a lot about this game, from a need, from a performance, from an execution, from everything. You were really, really proud of your guys and proud of this effort on Thursday night.
Yeah, I think it was our best defensive half of the season. And, that's kind of been our mantra all year long is let's continue to get better every day and try to play our best basketball in February. We did that on the defensive end. And Indy's a good offensive team and hit some tough shots in that first half and playing from behind the whole game. We showed a lot of resolve and I was very pleased with our group.
Yeah, and in the postgame we talked about it, but for those who didn't get a chance to join us in that postgame, Indy hit 8 3-pointers in their first half, right? And a lot of guys, I think you said one got banked in. They had a couple guys maybe percentage-wise that you were okay taking some shots. But you had mentioned what was so key for your team was to stay true to the process, stay true to every kind of position and every kind of possession and make sure everything kind of stays in front of you and stays present, right? Which I think is so huge because in games like that when you're really you're needing the game and all of a sudden things aren't going your way as far as percentages go and everything, that's hard to do, but your team seemed to do a really good job of that. Is that something that's been building? Talk a little bit about why that's so important.
Well, I mean, like in the game of basketball, it's such a make-miss game. And so you could run good offense and get a great shot and miss it. You could play poor defense, they take a shot and miss it. So there's a variety of outcomes that can happen. If you stay focused on the process over time, over 40 minutes, hopefully you're going to be in a good spot. And so our guys understood that. And at halftime, we talked about some things. We made a couple small adjustments, but for the most part, we wanted to just contest their shots a little bit better and continue to contest their jump shots. They're a team that likes to shoot the jump shots, and we wanted to limit their paint touches and layups. And so that was the key. 22 points. On 27 possessions in the second half is 0.81 points per possession, which is going to get you a win a lot of times. And fortunately, that second group really got us going, and we kind of went with them down the stretch, and they were really defending at a high level, and finally got us over the hump there.
Nice, yeah, 22 points in that second half after a 40-point first half. I'm always fascinated by what goes on at halftime in there, right? Can you take us a little bit behind the scenes? How are the guys feeling? What was your message? How did you guys get from being able to shift 40-point first half to one of your best defensive efforts in the second half of the whole year?
We talked, so the first 4 or 5 minutes, our assistant coaches and I are just kind of talking about what we saw, what do we need to continue what do we need to adjust, what do we need to continue to do, what lineups were best, what lineups were bad, what matchups were good, what matchups were bad, and trying to see, what we can do. And you really only have 3 or 4 minutes to talk to the team, so there's not a whole lot of time when you think about it. But there's a couple things and a couple coverages we needed to talk about defensively to shift just a little bit. But really, it was just kind of reiterating, hey, they hit 8 threes, but one was banked. A couple were really heavily contested. One was at the end of the shot clock, a really good defensive possession. They just threw one in at the end of the shot clock. So we're not going to panic. You take away those 3, we're up by 3 at half, and I felt like offensively we were starting to figure out how to score a little bit better. And so, it took us a while to get over the hump in that second half. But, Isaiah Esker plays probably a career high in minutes, really kind of anchored that defense. That defensive group and having Nate Shockey back out there was key. I think he was 6 assists, one turnover, and so it was nice to have a senior out there handling the ball and making plays.
Yeah, let's talk about Isaiah Esker for a little bit because obviously he played a great game. What has changed for him though? This used to be a guy, even a few months ago watching him, you knew he was a power post player, right? Back you down, bang you down, and get you all the way to the hoop and lay it up. In the past few weeks, we've seen this guy turn over both shoulders from 4 to 6 feet, making shots with ease, right? I mean, he's taking better angles from it. He even had a play the other night where I think he had to tiptoe and do some fancy footwork on the baseline to get to the other side of the rim to avoid the shot blocker and still finish with some contact down low. It seems like his offensive game has just shifted so much and gotten so much better, like in the last, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks, really overall. What's going on with that? What's behind this?
I think his entire game. I think he's just been a guy that's really, really improved from where he was as a sophomore and junior in high school when I first saw him to where he is now. He's put a tremendous amount of work in, and he's gotten incrementally better each year. And you're talking about 5 years of college basketball and over 100 games and 500 practices and workouts. So all that is kind of cumulative. And
versus a guy like Jack Weber as well,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and he was on such a improvement curve that I felt like he was going to continue to improve, and he's been really good, and defensively he's gotten better as well. Like he's like smart defender.
Yeah.
Obviously he's got the size and the strength. He's moving better laterally than he ever has, and so he's just it's a testament of a guy that's put in the work, and he's seen the results. So very pleased for him and for us, because he's been key to our defense.
Yeah, absolutely. He's playing really, really well right now. Max Kunert, shot might not be getting there, but he's shown he can score in other ways. That's a huge plus for you. Having Nate Shockey back's been really, really good. There's a lot of good things going on right now, and we need that at this time because tough road trip coming up. Trip to Fayette, Iowa on Thursday night, and then to Romeoville to take on Lewis on Saturday. Great opportunity to grab one or couple big road wins. What's your initial thoughts going into this week in this road trip?
I mean, two tough places to play. Upper Iowa is an NCAA tournament team. Last year, won a game in the NCAA tournament. They've been strong all year. We had them at our opening weekend. Got to see them live. They're tough at their place, and they play really fast. A different brand of basketball maybe than most of our league. So you got to adjust to that. And then Lewis is kind of just an old faithful that's been top of this league for a long time. They've got a veteran team with a lot of guys back from last year's team that knocked us out of the GLVC tournament. So Rob Stroud is one of the most dynamic players in the league, and we've got our hands full with those two teams, but great opportunities for us to go on the road and compete with two teams that are challenging for NCAA tournament berth, and so it's going to be fun.
Yeah, let's talk about that first game, Upper Iowa, because you did mention they were here. We got to see them play 2 games. I know your staff did a lot of, watching a lot of those games against Roosevelt and Wisconsin Parkside. Do you get anything from that this late in the year, seeing them that early in the year at all? Or is it just kind of, we saw a little bit of their personnel but don't really focus so much on that? Talk us a little bit about the change just given the time frame when we saw them last time.
Yeah, I mean, teams evolve over a course of a season. And so the thing you can get about watching a game, whether it's live or on film, I don't know that I've ever watched a game and not learned something. Even if I've watched a game over again or watched a game for a third time, I feel like you're going to learn something. There's so much going on in the game of basketball that you can pick something up. So definitely got a feel for how they're trying to play, and they had a good weekend that weekend as well. Won both of their games, and just like we did. So it's nice to get a little bit of feel for them. We haven't seen them all year long. We haven't watched a ton of their games based on the conference schedule because our common opponents, we've been kind of playing teams that they haven't played in a while. So you don't really watch.
Sure.
Sometimes you get a little cross scouting when you're watching UMSL play, but they haven't played the team that we've played very often. So, but we played them twice last year, got them at home, and they got us at their place, and they got a lot of guys back from that team. Nick Reed, Noah King are 2 of the most dynamic scorers in our league. And they've got some good role guys around them that play extremely hard and play extremely well. Coach McCowan's done a fantastic job in coming into our league. They came from arguably probably the best league in the country, the Northern Sun, where they had won their division. And then they come into our league, which is another top 3 league in the country year in, year out. So, they credit to them, and they've got a good atmosphere there. So, we got a feel for them. We've been studying them hard and trying to come up with a game plan to slow them down a little bit.
Yeah, nice. And final question, we talked on Thursday night. You said you were going to give the guys a couple days off, kind of take the weekend off, much so for your staff, right? I mean, you guys going so hard at it. So you guys did get a few days off. Yesterday, first day kind of back at practice. What'd you think? How was the guys' energy? What are you, what are you excited about when they came back from that break? We feel like we're ready to go on this run this weekend.
Yeah, no, I mean they had good energy. We've got some guys that are very consistent. So you got a lot of veterans in that locker room that are ready to work and understand that connection between practicing well and playing well. So we had a good day yesterday. Got another good practice plan for today. Try to continue to build on it and get ready to go up north and avoid the weather and go up to Upper Iowa and get one.
Yeah. The worst thing you want to hear, and it's already about 10 degrees here, is we're going to go to Upper Iowa, where I think it's about 7 or 8 degrees. So you'll certainly be greeted with a little bit more of cold weather than Springfield, but hopefully some good basketball too on this road trip. Please keep in mind in this game on Thursday night, the women's game starts at 5 p.m., so the men's game may start earlier than a traditional 7:30. So if you're looking to tune in for that, please keep that in mind. But 7:30 or so on Thursday night, and then of course we'll be in Romeoville with an approximate 3 p.m. tip against the Lewis Flyers. For Matt Brock, I'm Michael Leota. This has been the UIS Coaches Show.